How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to the next week, the first official week of our retro nostalgic look back on particular things in our history that we have fond memories over. This is the first week that we're actually following a schedule, and if you can't already tell from the banner below, every Tuesday and Thursday, 8 to 10 Central Time. On Tuesdays, however, this is the day that we're going to be having these discussions with Todd and I. On Thursdays, it's going to be more of a solo session with myself, where we're going to be doing things like watch-alongs, tier lists, all that kind of fun shit. So stay tuned for what I might have scheduled for that. But anyway, last week, you guys might remember that we discussed high school, which was a great topic to start on. It's something that Todd and I share pretty much beginning to end. This topic, though, we're going to do movie theaters. And movie theaters is also very special. And it's very cool, too, because it kind of plays both sides of the fence. I have stuff on my list I'd like to talk about that existed before I met Todd. And then we have experiences that are shared when we were well into our friendship. But the movie theater, it's a special place that I don't really find so special anymore, dare I say.
No.
And I don't know if that's just me getting old. I don't know if that's just the times changing. I don't know if it's the quality of what's going in cinemas, but we're going to talk about the past. We're not going to talk about 2022. But before we do that, we're going to just shoot the shit a little bit, find out what's new with each other. And I know Todd last week said he had some pickups he wanted to go over, and I do as well. So you can start.
Yeah, so I have a stack of stuff that I've had for the past month that I haven't watched yet. Just still sitting in the wrapper over here. Cheap. I found some cheap Blu-rays, either out and about or on Amazon. So I'm kind of gonna run through them here. First one is, of course, Jacob's Ladder Blu-ray.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a fantastic movie. I didn't own it. Picked it up for like $5-6.
I've only watched that once.
Oh, really?
Just one time.
Fantastic. Very good.
And when I watched it, I'd come to a great epiphany. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just like this movie or this game or whatever. You find out where things that you liked previously are derived from.
Yeah.
And even going further past that, when I watched Angel Heart, which predates Jacob's Ladder, it's like, shit, Jacob's Ladder is just like Angel Heart. Everything's taking a page from something. But anyway, yeah, it's a good flick. I got to watch it again.
Tim Robbins is great in it. So that was
Macaulay, dude.
Macaulay, yeah. High Tension is another one. I remember watching this once and I loved it back in, I think it came out in 2004 or something like that.
Yeah, really I missed that train. I remember when everybody was talking about that around 2004, and I actually never watched it.
Frailty. That was a cheap one. I enjoy Frailty, so picked that up for like $4 or whatever.
It's like, careful, partner, you might turn into one. I sure do love peas. Fucking Bill Paxton, dude. He's such a handball. He directed that movie. It's a great flick, though.
Yeah. The Lighthouse, which love this movie. Yeah, I love this movie. I think I got it for like $7. It was on Amazon for that cheap, and I love this movie, man. It's weird, and it's William Dafoe's crazy, and Robert Pattinson's really good in it as well.
Really quick, we got Plemke in the chat saying High Tension is an Uwe Boll film. I think, is it an Uwe Boll? No way.
It is.
No way. Because that movie was actually revered. No way. Batman meets Green Goblin. There's no way it's an Uwe Boll movie.
No, it's Alexander Aja.
I was about to, Alexander Aja.
Yeah.
Yeah, Uwe Boll wishes, man. He was too busy penning his draft for House of the Dead, dude, that time.
Which will segue into maybe the movie theater experience. So keep that in mind. Don't let me forget about that.
All right. You didn't make notes? I'm professional. I got notes.
No, sorry. Your recommendation, The Green Knight, 4K. I did.
Have you watched it yet?
I haven't watched it. No.
Oh, so you said you were going to watch it a couple weeks ago. You should watch it.
Man, I have a lot going on. That and then I have. I don't know if you ever saw this series. I watched it back in the. I think it was 80s, early 90s, maybe when they re-aired it. But it's V series, mini series.
Oh,
it's about the aliens.
Where did that air?
The reptilian aliens. Was this an ABC? I believe. Yeah, I think it was ABC, but it's a Warner archive. But I remember watching it a long time ago. I really enjoyed it when I was a kid, so I wanted to rewatch it. This is the original miniseries, and then the final battle, which is the other one with like Michael Ironside and everything. I haven't seen the final battle, so I'm excited to watch that. So those two, and then I have two more. So I actually got paid out for some fantasy football money I ended up winning last year in one of my fantasy leagues. So I was like, I'll splurge a little bit. I mean, these aren't cheap by any means, but they're ones that I've been wanting for probably about 2 years now. So, but a couple of vinyl. It's the Unsolved Mysteries vinyl,
Oh,
the original broadcast volume 1.
dude, where'd you get that? How much did that run?
27 for this one.
Oh, where'd you get it? What's the source?
It's what's it? Who put this?
Who'd you
out?
buy it from? Like what?
TerraVision Records.
Did
So
you get it from their website, or where'd you get it?
Yeah, I got it from I got it from their website, and I actually, the packaging, fantastic and everything. The only issue I had was with the actual vinyl itself; it had a scratch in it. So I have to send it back. I sent them an email, so hopefully they'll be or not refunding me. You're sending a new one, but man, this packaging is freaking cool though. I mean, it has like channel 13, and then his this program is about unsolved mysteries whenever possible, the actual families, members, police officers, that sort of thing, which is really cool. It has the Tonight on channel 13 insert, and then it has, so here's the cover, and it has like the Solved on there with all the tracks. Some really classic.
I'm surprised it has that many tracks, dude.
Yeah,
I can think of the intro.
Dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. I can think of the theme music. I can think of the weird eerie music as he's telling the stories, and I can think of like the soundbite update. Like maybe he has that on there.
I watch it. I still watch it all the time. Like they have like the different like synthesizers and piano music from it that I remember. Yeah, I got that, and then I also got the volume 2, which is really good as well. So
that's very cool.
I got the 1 and 2, and I need to. I haven't listened to the first one. I listened to volume 2, and it's really good. It sounds really good. So,
well, yeah, Plemke, you're right. It was Casio keyboard music, man. It was freaking rad as shit. And he says he's got some DVDs that are hard to find. The UFO one, and that was the best ones. Anything about UFOs and paranormal, those are the creepy ones to me. Which is kind of weird because you'd think the ones about home abductions that are unsolved are even scarier, like the shit that's really going to happen.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I don't know. Yeah, those DVDs are hard to find. So I'm looking forward to hopefully they give me a new disc of that volume 1 here pretty soon, so I can spin that, because I can't listen to it if it has a scratch in it. So
yeah, it's at the end of your list.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't realize Todd was going to go back a whole month, or else I would have been more prepared, because I have a couple of things that I don't have out to show. But if we're on the topic of vinyl, you know what? I'm going to grab it. Todd, entertain him. I'm going to grab a couple things.
Plemke, what's going on? What have you been watching lately? Anything? I used to have a Casio keyboard. My mom had, and we always played that like the intro song because we didn't know how to play the piano. But I don't know. I always wanted to learn how to play it, and I wish I would still have that today, because I'd try to learn the keyboard again. But yeah.
All right. Okay, so I'm gonna go back a little bit. I was doing some shopping on Mondo. Speaking of soundtracks, I got the Mondo version of the Batman Returns soundtrack.
Oh, nice.
I absolutely love the soundtrack. It's my favorite Batman movie, even more than the original. I give it the nudge. And just the soundtrack, it's so killer. It's not cheesy ass Prince. It is Danny Elfman unhinged. And I love it. It's gothic, that Tim Burton, Danny Elfman thing mixed with Christmas. And a lot of usage of bells and chimes, which are traditional for the holidays, but through that gothic filter. And I love all the themes, man. The Catwoman theme, the Penguin theme is so dark, dude. I love all of it, man. Of course, it's got the classic Batman theme as well. And on the topic of soundtracks, the Mondo Suspiria. right?
Okay.
And they have the other one as well. What is it? Waxwork? Who put that? Who
I
put
think it
the
was
other one out?
Waxwork. Yeah, one of
And
those.
it's just the classic cover, right? But
Mhm.
I I didn't know which one to get. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to be all weird about having the original. There's some nerds on vinyl forums that were saying, "Oh, the original Waxwork sounds better," but this one sounds great. So I'm not going to be that nitpicky. And I just wanted the sweet art, man. I'm a big fan of the Mondo art and the packaging, and it's really, really cool. And they're all gatefolds. This
Yeah.
is a single vinyl, and it's a splatter of some kind, but I could give two shits about splatter and color variants.
I agree. Just so it sounds
But
good.
it sounds great. It is, and I love it when they do this, when you get a single vinyl and they still give you a gatefold. And
Yeah.
the Batman does look cool, even though I'm not really big on colored discs. The Batman, one of them is a blue and one of them is a purple, which you don't see
Mhm.
much of that where they're different colors, and it's double vinyl, and it's a really, really sweet packaging. Now, as far as what I got brand new as far as this week, the new Megadeth,
Oh
Sick,
yeah, I
Dying,
still
and
need
the
to get
Dead,
that. Yeah.
right?
Have you listened to
And
it yet?
that, yeah. Let me put them down
It's
real
a
quick.
good album, man. I listened to it on Friday, I think, on Spotify.
I was actually really surprised at how good it sounded. I think the production on it's really, really good. The guitars are crunchy. Megadeth for the last couple of records, they've tuned down a whole step to D to accommodate Mustaine's aging voice, which on one hand, his voice suffers because I kind of miss those sing-along choruses, which he doesn't have anymore because he's pretty much talking his way through these songs
Yeah.
now because it's so low. But the plus side trade-off is they sound heavier because they've tuned down, and it makes this record and the last record sound really fresh in their catalog. I don't know yet if I like it better than the last one. I love Dystopia. I loved it. But this one definitely sounds a little bit more varied in sounds. A lot of melody, a lot of some heavy stuff, some ballady type stuff. Whereas Dystopia really felt like just 10 tracks kicking the nuts. They all sounded like they belonged as a cohesive unit of tracks. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I have to marinate with it even more. There's a couple of cheesy tracks on there.
There's a lot of
Like
tracks on this one, isn't
like
there?
I don't know. It's probably like the normal 10, but
No, I thought it was more.
it feels longer.
Mhm.
But and that's another thing. The last record I think has the same amount of tracks on it, but it feels like it's really swift because every song feels very gelled with each other. It just feels like one. This has different ebbs and flows to it, which makes it kind of feel a bit more robust. I don't know. The whole God, there's one track on there that's really Junkie. That one's cheesy.
Mhm. Mhm.
I was like laughing at the lyrics, like this is cheesy. And he opens the track with the chorus, but it's like a cappella. I don't remember what he says, like Junkie, got it, Junkie. It's like, all right, that I could probably do without that, but I'm liking it so far. To keep it, I don't have any movies to show. I'm trying to think if I gotten any. I think the last movie I bought was Angel Heart 4K Steelbook. It's in another room. Bought that couple weeks ago. I haven't watched it yet, but let me check this out. I actually got this about a month ago, and I'm just now getting to reading it, and I just so happen to have it in here. I didn't plan on showing it, but boom, they released all the volumes of the Last Ronin TMNT graphic novel into
Mm.
one collection,
Did you
and
find that
it
on
is
Amazon or?
yeah,
Oh, that's
and
pretty
I'm
sweet.
glad it's pretty cool, and it's only like $20.
Mm.
Because they were releasing the Last Ronin, and I don't remember, is it 5 parts, I believe, and I'm
Mhm.
only about halfway through it, but it's fucking awesome. I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm also a huge Turtles fan though, but I'm kind of over collecting. I don't want comic books. I don't want individual shit. I don't want a whole bunch of shit all over the place. I love it when they release collections like that or omnibuses and things like that. I love it. I'll take that
Yeah.
all day long. Also actually with that, I also got a Todd McFarlane Spider-Man era omnibus,
Oh,
and
okay.
it kind of goes over all the Todd McFarlane years, which a lot of people criticize because that's when he started drawing like Mary Jane super slutty, and just the art
What's wrong
style
with
changed a
that?
little bit. I know, I love it, man, and of course he created Venom and stuff like that, so I like the art style. And two more things I'm going to show you guys are toys. So this is a NECA, if you could see it without the glare, Chris
Oh.
Redfield. Boulder punching Chris Redfield. So my brother, he pitched a couple things off to me, a couple things he didn't want, and he gave me a great deal on these. Right, so I need to clean it up a little bit. It's a little foggy. Chris Redfield. This thing goes for about 75 to 100 on eBay. And the other thing he sold me, I'll tell you what I got him for. This one's the real special one, the NECA Sweet Tooth, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
When did that come out?
Oh, with the last game, so 2013, something like that.
Okay.
2012, 2013, can't quite remember. This thing is really cool, and it's also NECA, and this thing fetches 200 to 250.
Wow.
So 2 to 250, 75 to 100. He sold me both of them for 140 together.
Oh, nice.
Steal. Yeah. So, and to be honest with you, I'm kind of over the hoarding package toys. Like, I like toys. I you know how badly I want to open this. I want to open this and display it because it looks really cool in person.
Are you going to?
Oh, dude, now that I know it's worth as much as it is, and it's one of these packaging that you can't just like close back up. You
I know that's why I left mine closed up.
Yeah, and some of these you can be like the Marvel Legends toys. You can cut outside the card to make it. Yeah, there's no way I can't fuck this up. So that's unfortunate. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet, but I really love it. And I'm not real big typically on video game type collectibles, but like I said, the Sweet Tooth is really cool. I really don't like that era of Chris Redfield, but he kind of threw it in. But now I've kind of got a small collection of game stuff going on, man. And I've got like some NECA game stuff. I also have a couple of NECA Crash Bandicoots and stuff that I really like that I haven't opened yet. I was going to open them, but I don't know, man. I might try and figure out a way to display these. I don't know. Anyway, that's it for my stuff, my goods. Of course, my birthday's coming up, right? My birthday is in as of this stream 16 days. No, what am I, crazy? The 22nd. What is today? 6? That's 16 days. So I'll probably get a couple of things, right? From the lady. My mother has been getting it's probably gonna be the first birthday I get stuff from any family from my mother for in years and years and years and years. And I'm probably gonna get vinyl. She already asked me. She's like, hey, what vinyls you got? I'm like, so I created one of those like Discogs, like so I could just archive everything I have and I send it to her. Like, here's what I have. Just don't buy anything from there. And it was so funny because I gave her the list and she asked me straight up. She's like, Did you pre-order anything that I should know about? My mom's Southern, man. She's from the deep South. Anyway, and I'm like, no, I literally went through everything. I'm like, no, nothing. She's like, okay. So she had the all clear to do whatever she's going to do. And don't buy anything until your birthday. Like, all right, I don't want to buy anything. Anyway, the next day, I didn't even think anything of it. It just kind of dawned on me. I did forget about one thing. This was literally the next morning. I was like, yeah, I'm literally stirring coffee. My mom lives with me, by the way. I took her in. She's handicapped. But anyway, I'm literally the next morning. I'm stirring coffee, and I'm very, very casually. I'm like, you remember when you asked me if I had pre-ordered anything? She got this face on her, and I'm like, I totally forgot. I ordered dirt. It's probably slowed down. Allison changed dirt.
Oh yeah.
Dirt. And it's before I can even finish. She goes, no. I'm like, what? Did you get that? Yes.
Where'd she order from?
I don't know. She's like, I got it from Walmart. I'm like, do you want me to cancel mine? Like, you can just cancel it. Just give me something else. She's like, they already took my money. I'm like, Mom, they did? Like, that's not the way those things work.
It's not out. It's not out yet, is it?
No. She's like, but they did. I'm like, well, do you want me to cancel mine? I will. She's like, it's up to you. I'll cancel mine if you want. She's like, yes, cancel yours. I'm like, all right, jeez.
Well, I think Walmart is the exclusive colorway or something, or color.
I don't know. I don't care. Yeah. To be honest with you, I'm just gonna let them both come in, and I'm gonna keep whichever one's not fucked up.
Yeah, might as well. Yeah,
but it was just so
hold
funny.
On to a copy and sell it in a year for $200.
But it's so they'll be gone like the facelifts, right? Yeah. So I don't know. That's always a big. But yeah, it was so funny. The one thing, man, and she got it, and the look on her face is hilarious. But yeah, anyway, so I'll have some more shit to show in the next couple of weeks. But regardless, if there's nothing else to talk about, without further ado, we're going to talk about movie theater experiences. Todd, I know you didn't take notes because you're not the consummate professional like myself, but do you have an idea of a sequence in your head of things you want to talk about, or would you rather me start?
You can start.
I'm going to start with my very, very first movie theater experience ever. And this is something, if you guys follow us as well on our YouTube channel, if you followed our commentaries the last decade plus, I brought this up before. But my first theater experience ever when I was 4 was the original TMNT 90. And I think this was not the source of my Turtles obsession, because the reason I went to the movie was because the cartoon was all the rage and I loved it so much. And it means a lot to me, and it's special to me because we were so poor. We were living in a broke down trailer park, dude. We had no money. My parents were super young. They were kids. We had nothing. Like literally, I remember this Christmas, man. We didn't have Christmas. This is also the first year of my first Christmas experience that I really remember. I remember being in an empty trailer and not having anything, and just the door opening and a bunch of random guys in Santa Claus outfits that turned out to be from Salvation Army giving me coloring books that were from like the church, dude. That's how bad off we were. I was doing amazing dead cockroach impressions at the age of 4, which is sad because we had a place anyway. But my mom made it a point to take me to this damn movie, right? So
Yeah.
I remember it, and it's not like I remember every scene at 4 years old vividly, but as clear as the day is bright, I remember sitting there during the Central Park scene where Raph is coming out of seeing Critters 2. Where do they come up with this stuff? And stopping the burglary, and then chasing him, and then Casey Jones and the whole cricket. I remember that whole scene like it was yesterday. And I love it, man. I love that movie. And I don't know, you never forget your first, is what they say, right? And that's
No,
why that movie's
absolutely.
so special. The movie's incredibly special to me. I love it, and I will die on the hill of TMNT all day long. I don't care. I just think I will say that I don't know if it's the best. It is my favorite adaptation of any comic book or graphic novel or whatever you want to call it. It's never been done better. And the fact that they did it on such a tight budget, such a shoestring budget, and just the history behind that flick that nobody would take it. This is kind of before it was in vogue and fashionable to buy up every single property so you could make movies out of it. Now it's like every comic book, every cartoon, every TV show has to have some kind of movie spinoff or adaptation. Nope. 1990, the Ninja Turtles was all the rage. Toys, cartoons, but nobody wanted to take this movie and finance this movie when they were shopping around. Nobody, which is asinine. So Golden Harvest stepped up. They had a very, very shoestring budget. I don't remember how much it was. If it was like $1 million or two, it was nothing. And they did an awful lot with very, very little. And so it's pretty incredible. But that's my first experience. Todd.
Yeah. So my first experience would have to be, I believe it would be in December 1990, which, if you know that year, the biggest movie of the year was
Home Alone.
probably Home Alone. Yep. So, and you weren't able to actually get in the theater for like, it came out in November 10th. I just looked it up. I think we saw it, I want to say maybe it was before Christmas or right after Christmas, but like it was sold out everywhere. You can never find a seat in there. We just happened to, I think I was with my mom, my grandma, my brother. We happened to find a ticket, so there was like 3 tickets left. So we all went. My mom, my brother, my grandma, and me. I had to end up sitting on her lap the whole movie because it was so packed in there. We had to sit in the front row, and I remember that. So, and these are like old school theater seating where you're sitting in the front row and you're like looking up the whole time. It's so uncomfortable actually watching a movie like that. But that was probably one of the best theater experiences I've been to because the theater was huge. I mean, it was probably the biggest in our city, biggest auditorium. I don't know if you remember Indian Hills, but that place was huge.
I wasn't living there in 1990.
Okay, so yeah, we went in and saw that, and me leaving the theater, I was blown away. I wanted to see it again, so didn't end up getting to see it again, but My grandma made a special trip. I don't know if it was the next Christmas to take me out to go see Home Alone 2. So that was very, very good experience for me. And Home Alone is still probably my favorite Christmas movie, and now it's my kid's favorite Christmas movie. So it just kind of bleeds over into the family. So it's nice.
I can comment on that as well. So it gets an honorable mention for me because I didn't see it in theaters, but because like I said, we never got me seeing TMNT was an anomaly. But uh, my grandmother, my dad's mother, she would go to the movie theaters, and she must have went to this without me and us. I don't know who she went to see this with in 1990, but she would always take this giant fucking shoulder cannon, right? Jerry Seinfeld, like, the bootlegging shit and filming these movies from the back row, like Kramer. Fire. What's the fucking movie they were
Death
doing?
Blow.
Death Blow.
Come on, man! I'm missing the Death
Death
Blow.
Blow. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so she would go in there and record these movies. And so she had VHS and she wasn't selling them, I don't think. But I think she was just pretty much hoarding them for us when we came over.
Yeah.
So as early as 1990, I was watching that damn movie too. And what's funny is it had to have looked like shit, but I don't recall it looking like shit. I used to sit in her she had like a guest room, like a hobby room, and she'd have one of those console TVs that had legs. And we would sit in there and just watch Muppet Babies and and we would watch that movie. And I remember the VHS looking amazing, but there's no way it didn't have like echo and shit from the theater. There's no way it sounded great. But we wore that out, and that movie was hugely important to me and my brother as well. And the other movie too, if since I'm on that topic, didn't get to see this in theaters, a little too young, but she also had a VHS straight from the fucking. You know what? This one actually she might have bought. Actually, this one was paid for. I think I even recall it having a price tag of like $80 on it because that's how much VHSs cost. But she had Batman, 89 Batman, and we wore the Home Alone, Batman 89, and Hook out. Hook was one of them as well. So, yeah. I can go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, kind of talking about like the grandma's house or whatever back in the 90s. I remember watching the Scramble Vision WWF pay-per-views on those, and I remember watching Owen Hart die or whatever, hit the turnbuckle, and we're like, "What the hell's going on?" Yeah,
in Kansas City, right?
Yeah. So it's funny because like you get like 2 seconds of the actual match, and then it would go fuzzy, and then like 20 seconds later it would come back. So. Just cool stuff like that. I mean, kids nowadays really, kids know, yeah, but kids nowadays really don't understand what it was like back then. But it's kind of a.
Plemke in the chat says the Owen Hart death footage is now lost. Did they actually successfully scrub all that from online?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, I could see it getting flagged. Oh, WWE destroyed the footage? Jeez. I'm not shocked, man. It's not exactly something you want to keep around, I guess. So I can actually segue from my next one. It goes right into, fittingly, Home Alone 2. Because that was the next movie I saw in theaters, which was 92, right? 92?
Yeah, I think
pretty sure it's 92. Wasn't 91. So yeah, we didn't go to the movies that much. That's 2 years later, but I'll never forget it, man. At my grandma's house, the same grandmother's house. And this was my first. I can remember remember a little bit more about the actual theater experience, and I can remember more about the ritual of going. Because TMNT 1990, I'm 4 years old. It's a little patchy in places, but now I'm 6, and so I remember being at her house, and this was my first experience hoarding in snacks, not buying snacks. So she had little bag popcorns. And she would like give them to us and put them in jackets and sneak them in and all that stuff. And I remember going into that theater too, and it was packed. It was absolutely packed. I mean, I'm pretty sure I don't remember, man. I might have had to sit in a lap. I'm not exactly sure. But one thing I do remember is my grandmother with that shoulder cannon. I watched her in action filming that bad boy the whole time.
Does anybody tell you anything, or none of the ushers said anything?
Oh, what are the fucking 14-year-old ushers going to do about it? Excuse me, ma'am.
I don't know. Call the police, dude.
They don't care, dude. Yeah, well, they're going to call the FBI. They're going to actually they're going to narc us on the FBI.
That's copyright infringement.
FBI warning. Like, piracy is not a victimless crime. Like, but we weren't. It was just for us. She just brought, and we wore one because back in the day, for those that are maybe too young to remember, it used to take forever for movies to come out on home release. It's not like today where, that not only will the shit be out on video, that dates me, on 4K or Blu-ray in 6 to 8 weeks, it'll be on a streamer. It'll be on a streamer included with one of your subscriptions within that same 2 months, if not just a month later. It's so fast to turn around. Like now, that's why it's so easy to pass on flick. Because there's nothing to see. But even if there is a movie that looks somewhat interesting, if we can actually get an original story in Hollywood, it's so easy to pass on it because, first of all, it's gonna be on VOD in 6 weeks. Because let's face it, it ain't gonna do well because it's an original story. It's not a franchise, which is sad. But back then, I'd say for a regular movie, a year. But the thing is a lot of these movies would always time their release around the holiday season because they wanted to sell VHSs. They want them to go in stockings. So let's say you saw Batman in July or August, whenever that came out in 89. That didn't come out in July or August of 89 in 1990. They pushed it back a year and a half so it could come out in 1990 Christmas time. So I remember how long. I remember Aladdin. I don't know why I remember Aladdin. Aladdin was big in 1993. That fucker didn't come out till Christmas 94, like a year and a half. So those bootlegged VHS copies came in real handy. That's for sure. Because we were kids. We wore that shit out like nobody's business. But anyway,
did you get the previews in the beginning of the movies too, or?
I don't know. I know we didn't have a Final Cut Pro back then, so she didn't clip anything out. But she might have waited to start it because I don't recall. It's really tough, man. You know what? She might have, because maybe not in Home Alone 2, but I remember vividly watching over and over again those commercials that were at the start of Home Alone. They always had ads and I don't know. Maybe I'm getting my memories mixed up. Remember how Home Alone VHS would have that "Got Pepsi for me"?
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know. It's all blurring together. She probably didn't start it till it was ready to go. But anyway, that was my second pick, and I loved it. And let me tell you, as a kid, I know people debate it all the time right now, and they say, "Oh God, Home Alone 2 sucks. The first one's the only one." As a kid, you don't know. Yeah, I love them both. And as a kid, it scratched the itch, man. Home Alone 2 is sequelitis. It's just the first one bigger and more laughs, and it is what it is, and more Trump.
That's right.
Anyway, go ahead. What's your next one?
My next one will be the summer blockbuster of 1993, and I'm sure you can guess what it is. But
Jurassic Park.
Yep. So Jurassic Park, I saw this 7 times in the theaters. So this is the movie. We went to an in-home daycare when we couldn't, in the summers for school and everything like that. My mom would send $20 or whatever for the week or something like that. So me and my brother they take us to do different activities and stuff. And we used to tell them over and over we wanted to see Jurassic Park. So we saw it a total of 7 times. We walked to the theaters with one of our babysitters. We kept seeing it, and man, it still holds up to this day. It's one of the best, I think. It's fantastic. The cast is great. Spielberg, of course. It's the only Jurassic Park I like. So,
and there's 2 different Spielbergs. There's the Munich Spielberg that puts out movies like that, and then there's the Spielberg that puts out Jaws and E.T. and Jurassic Park. He had 2 trajectories going at the same time, and he would just hop, skip back and forth. And I don't know. I actually never really liked E.T.
Oh, I love E.T. I never saw it in theater.
I of course love Jurassic Park. I didn't see another movie in the theater until 95 and 96. It was a few years after that. But once again, kind of like Home Alone, we had the VHS and it was still big. Just because we didn't see it in theaters didn't mean we didn't get the VHS for Christmas and all the kids weren't talking about it. The merch was riding high, dude. Everybody had the shirts and the toys, and I had the game. I got the Sega Genesis game and stuff before I ever saw the movie.
Well, the Jurassic Park game?
Yeah.
Oh, it's great, man. I still love it.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not very good. Yeah.
When he dies, dude.
Sega. No, the T-Rex. Sega.
Yep. We got the game for Christmas one year. Another good thing is when we were walking to the theater, there was a Target right next door. So we would walk over and look at all the Jurassic Park toys as well. and then we walk over and watch the movie and keep doing that. And then I remember I always wanted that dinosaur with like the gut, the bite out of the gut or whatever, where you can see like the inside of him of the T
Oh
Rex.
yeah.
You know what I'm
Oh,
talking about?
yeah, I think so.
It's kind of like a plastic T Rex with a little hole in the stomach, so you can see like the ribs and stuff.
The ribs and
I
stuff.
Yeah, I always wanted that, but I never ended up getting it. But I think I got like Dr. Grant or something. But I don't
You
know,
know,
man.
I
That movie just hit me, and I still love it.
and sadly, at least for me, we're old. Those days are over of being able to go see a movie 7 times in a movie theater and just be that taken by something. Even a movie I love, man, I'm not gonna go see it 7 times. Like, who has time for that? And you can't. But when you're a kid, you're super impressionable, and I don't know, for you to see not only your experiences are limited at that age, but even then, Jurassic Park in 1993, even for people that are old, had to have been mind-blowing.
Oh
So
yeah.
just can you imagine just being for a kid that didn't have that much to compare it to anyway? I mean, you know
Well,
what I saw? I saw Mac and Me at that age. I was watching fucking Mac and
mhm.
Me and shit like that. And even me seeing movies like Jurassic Park compared to bullshit like Mac and Me was like, what?
But the thing is about those movies back in like the '90s is, you would take your friends to it. So you'd watch it, and then you go watch it again with your friends, and then you watch it with your other friends, and then your other friends. It's like it's the experience where you just wanted to go back to the movies again and again, just so you can like see their reaction of what they thought about the movie, that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, it was great. And I wish I could go back to movies like that, but we can't. But yeah, Jurassic Park's a huge one. I kind of hate that I didn't get to experience that in theaters, but like I said, we didn't see another movie until fourth grade, 95, 96, and I saw a few, and there's a reason for that. And so the next one I have on my list is, and this one might seem a little funny to you guys. You guys might laugh at me, but the original Toy Story. Original Toy Story came out. I just want to make sure. Was that 95? I want to say 95. I just want to make sure it
Uh,
wasn't.
I've been '94. Let's
That's what I'm
look.
saying. Was it 94? 95. Okay. Yes, that makes sense. I saw it. I want to say it opens Thanksgiving. I feel like it opened around Thanksgiving. But all I remember is I could swear to you it was Thanksgiving. We had Thanksgiving lunch, and then we went to the theater as a family, which never happened. Like my grandma, my grandpa, my brothers and sisters, my brother, my nine sisters at the time, my brothers, my mom, we went and saw, and I could have swore it was opening night, Toy Story. And let me tell you, dude, being 9 years old, it was pretty cool at the time.
Well,
Like
yeah. Mhm.
that was Pixar's first movie. We hadn't had computer animated movies like that. Now it's old hat. I'm fucking tired of seeing it. I'm so tired of Pixar. I miss hand drawn animation. We're never gonna have it again. But at the time, Toy Story was fresh. And when you looked at Toy Story being 9 years old in 1975, what I was thinking in my juvenile brain was, oh man, this is like a video game that I'll never play. Like, can you imagine like what happens if video games ever look this good? They'll never look this good. Of course, I could have never believed it that video games would someday look better than the original Toy Story, because the original Toy Story is a little primitive now. You can see like joints connected in the animation. There's always those famous shots of like, what is it, Buzz or Woody's eyes kind of going googly, like one eye looks the other way. Um,
Yeah.
but at the time, it was really mind blowing, and I still love that first Toy Story. And I try not to hold it against them, right? Because Pixar got bought out by Disney, like everything else, and it's just really been abused. And it's just now if it's not a Marvel movie, if it's not a Star Wars movie, it's a Pixar movie. That's all you get in theaters nowadays. And now I'm tired of it. But I'm not going to hold that against the original Toy Story, where it was a gamble. Like them putting that out, not a lot of people really thought it was going to do well, because people were still accustomed to Lion King. This is a year after Lion King. People were still all about that hand-drawn animation.
Yep.
They didn't think people were ready for it, but it's great. I still love the soundtrack, the Randy Newman stuff. I
Mhm.
think it's a great movie, great pacing, and I love it. So, oh yeah, Plemke. Oh, come on, Aaron. You love the Pixar movie Turning Red? No,
Oh God.
no. I
I
mean,
like some of the songs in it, but yeah, otherwise it's a shit
oh, the
movie.
Four Town.
Yeah, my
My
kid
girlfriend
likes
was
them.
singing that
Yeah.
all the time, dude.
Yeah.
We did karaoke a couple weeks ago. We were doing karaoke for her birthday, and that was one of the songs that she sang. It's so
Oh,
funny.
jeez.
Yeah, I had to put everybody to shame and belt out some classics. Anyway,
Go for
wait,
town.
yeah, so, yeah, Toy Story was big, and like I said,
Mhm.
I'm over letting shit be ruined. For
Mhm.
example, this isn't too much of a sidetrack, but like I'm not gonna let what Pixar became, the Disney and all that shit. I'm not gonna let it ruin how I felt about that original Toy Story. Just like I don't let all the fucking bastardized Hellraiser sequels ruin how great the first one is. I'm just not. To me, each individual piece of art and work stands alone. Right. I'm pretty sure the people that were involved with making the original Toy Story had nothing to do with the corporate buyouts and all that bullshit. So anyway, what's your next one?
So my next one would be coming in the year of 1994 in December. I think it was December 12th, which would be so kind of a backstory. We lived next to a movie theater growing up, and they used to have like I think you spent like $10 a month or whatever, you get limited movies. So we used to do that. We had like a card where you could see as many movies as you want per month. So we did that, and the movie that we were obsessed with, and of course is still my favorite comedy of all time, Dumb and Dumber.
Oh hell
Um,
yeah! You got to see that in theaters?
I saw it 3 times in the theaters.
Nice. See,
Yeah. We
didn't get to
had
go.
we had that golden card where we went in and yeah, we saw that 3 different times, and man, it's so funny. Just to
To this day.
just to hear people's laughter in the movie theaters. You know, it was crazy, dude. I
How bad was that theater lighting up when he was lighting up that toilet, dude? Making those
oh
noises. That
man,
theater's just
oh
erupting.
we were dying,
Yeah.
dude. We were
Dude, Plemke in
dying.
the chat. I beat him. Plemke in the chat literally typed that right after I said it. Exactly. Because that's what I think about that. The like how everybody had to have been laughing, dude. And
Yes.
I can't think of a movie because a comedy's always heightened in a
Yeah.
big room full of people, right? It's always great to see those types of movies, especially slapstick in a theater. Not It's not very often that a movie like that is going to get a similar response in your living room, but Dumb and Dumber is one of those movies where you could watch it in your living room. I would watch it just like with one of my family. My grandpa loved it.
Yep.
Dude,
Hmm.
both my grandfathers love it. Even my grandfather on my mother's side, who's just hardcore Christian, loves
Oh
that
yeah.
movie. My dad's dad loved that movie. My dad loved that movie. And I can only imagine what it would have been, how much it would have been amplified in a theater because it's still I still die laughing. Did I watch that? You can't not laugh. It'd be impossible to do a commentary for that movie. Like on YouTube, we do commentaries because we would just quote the movie the whole damn time and be laughing. We're not be talking about shit, you know?
Yeah, the funny thing is when I went to go see Aaron a few months ago, God, I couldn't stop laughing on the plane because he pulled out the token when he was dropping me off at the airport. He's like, "Goodbye, my love." He did that. I couldn't stop thinking about that. I was cracking up for like the whole flight home.
I was actually kind of worried I was gonna run into somebody's bumper, dude, because I had to keep my eye on the road, dude. Just like
Oh, I
it's like,
love
what is
that.
that saying? It's like, actually, you're statistically more gonna go on the way to the airport. Oh, yeah. But you keep
It's
your
it's
eyes on the
and
road.
it's the little quotes that are funny now. It's like, pull over. No, it's a cardigan, but thanks for noticing. Just like stupid stuff like that. It's fantastic.
Everything. I don't know if there is a funniest moment of that movie, but dude, I love. Hey, your hands are freezing. That's so funny. Dude, I still die. I just that whole scene. Extra gloves. It's the Rockies. I'm going to kill you, and he's just like, what?
Oh, I mean,
I'm going to kill crazy Harry. You got that crazy look in your eyes.
they
I'm
work
going
so
to.
well together, man. Oh, they're
They were
perfect
so great.
together.
And there's obviously a lot of stories that have been told about that movie. And if you know the featurette, the fact, how they got Jeff Daniels on board and his
Yeah.
agents and everybody told him you're crazy because he was doing movies like Gods and Monsters and award-winning movies. Like, don't do this fucking slapstick schlock with Jim Carrey. But it's great. It turned out awesome. I
Yeah.
love it. I wish I could have seen that in theaters. But once again, if we're going to kind of detour and talk about honorable mentions for all these movies that I didn't get to see in theaters, they were huge rentals because
Mhm.
we rented because this was when I was living in Kentucky. Because you got to imagine it came out in '94. It wasn't for a whole year, at least, that it didn't come out to VHS and rental. So '95, it was at that same time I was seeing Toy Story in the theaters. dude, we were going to this mom and pop rental shop in this small town in Danville, Kentucky, and my grandmother would send us over there to rent a couple of movies every other day, and we rented Dumb and Dumber so many times. Same thing with like Happy Gilmore. We rented Happy Gilmore. Billy Madison. Sorry, Billy Madison. Happy Gilmore came later, 96. But yeah, that was just one of those movies, man, that we absolutely wore out too. But oh gosh. So at the same period of time, so I saw Toy Story. I had an uncle, and I say had because he actually passed away a month or so ago from cancer, an advanced cancer. He had like 2 different types of cancers, and it was insane. But he passed away, and he was my uncle married to my dad's sister, and he would, when they would come and visit, because they were like freshly married, when they would come to visit, I think they still lived in Tennessee, which is a state over. They would come to visit, and he would want to make a good impression on us, right? Just kind of be the cool uncle, whatever. And he would always buy us stuff. We'd be like playing video games in the basement, and he would just show up and be like, "Hey, do you guys have any of these games?" And he would just like give us a couple of games that he bought for us, like just casually. "You guys have any of these?" Like, "No." And he would always take us to movies whenever he came into town. And so there's a couple of them I'll bring up. And it's not that the movies are great, but we went to the theater so seldomly as a kid. The times that he took us, they stick out because we just didn't go very much. I remember he took us to see the 2 movies, I'll say. He took me and my brothers to see Celtic Pride.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Daniel Stern, Dan Aykroyd, and Damon Wayans.
Yeah.
And we never got to choose the movie. We would just get in the car, and he would always take us to shopping, like to buy shoes for school or whatever, and pick out a toy or whatever. And we'd be going to the movie, and I'd be like, "What are we going to see?" And he would just tell us what we're going to go see. We're going to go see Celtic Pride. I'm like, "Okay, that sounds like something a kid would like, but okay, I'm in." But I remember, and that really is a C movie that's been forgotten with time, right? It just, for some reason,
it's definitely entertaining. It's really entertaining.
It's just one of those casualties of probably a stacked box office.
Yeah,
it probably just went up against competition and just got buried. But I always hold a special place for it in my heart, just because I remember it. And it's a good watch. It's and I love Daniel Stern. What else? And then he also went to see another movie. This movie was not good, and I still to this day don't really like it. But I think I might like it better today as an adult if I really try and appreciate it. But as a kid, I'm not going to understand Mel Brooks. He took us to see Dracula Dead and Loving It, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, as a kid, I wasn't having the Mel Brooks as a kid. It just wasn't registering with us. But I love the theater that we would go to in this small town, because he would take us, and he would actually, because he had some money, he would actually give us quarters to play the arcades, which I never got to do. But when we went with Uncle, we got to play Mortal Kombat 2. I'd play Mortal Kombat 2 and get my ass kicked by kids spamming Raiden's flying move, dude, over and over again. And then I remember they had X-Men Children of the Atom, which was a pretty new game at the time. And that was awesome, man. I used to love playing that. So lots of good memories. Not exactly special movies, just memories that stick out to me. So what's your next one?
My next one will jump from 1994 to 1996. Early 1996 in January. I believe I saw it maybe closer to March. And it was like, I didn't get to see a whole lot of rated R movies back then, but this was one of them that really stuck with me and still does.
Broken Arrow, dude?
No, not Broken Arrow.
By the way, I thought we were going to talk about. I thought we were going to talk about, before we move on past 94. I thought we were going to talk about Pulp Fiction. I thought you said you saw Pulp Fiction. Like, no fucking way. I saw Pulp. Did you see? We rented that when that first came out. Yeah, we didn't go to see it in theaters, but I remember seeing that as a kid and just not understanding what was going on. Like, because all the weird out of sequence, the way his editing was. I'm like, didn't John Travolta just get shot? Why is he now in this like t-shirt, But anyway, I thought we were going to talk about that. I just knew you were going to be like, yeah, I had a cool ass babysitter. Fucking took us to see Pulp Fiction. But anyway, sorry.
It's funny you say Quentin Tarantino, because the movie I'm talking about has Quentin Tarantino, and that would be From Dusk Till Dawn. So
you saw that in theaters?
Yeah, I saw it in the theaters.
Nice.
I saw it in the Dollar Theater, and I was blown away. It was It was a great, great experience. It was fantastic, and it still holds up to this day. I love it. I got the poster up there, the one sheet up there, so if you can see it. But
Yeah,
it's just a great memory for me.
that's a great movie that at the same time it gets a lot of respect, but I think at the same time it also doesn't. It's because Dust Till Dawn feels like junk food. It's always there. Everybody likes it. It's a great watch, but I don't know. It's just everywhere. There's not a shortage of copies of that movie. You could always find it for rent. You see the posters everywhere. I think it's one of those flicks you take for granted, but it's a great flick. And you know what? Was it God, it just feels like it was a Tales from the Crypt movie or something,
No,
right?
I agree. I agree.
Is there a chance that was at one point a Tales from the Crypt movie and then it got abandoned or something?
Not that
It
I
just
know
feels
of,
like a Tales
but
from the Crypt. To me, it feels like Demon Knight, except
it does.
replace the house with the titty bar, and just it feels like, and I don't know which, I don't know. I
But I
feel
mean,
like
you got to think back. There's not a whole lot of good vampire flicks, in my opinion, and that's up there in the top 5 vampire flicks, I think.
yeah, it's great, and I don't want to go on too many detours because I keep talking about VHS. I think that could be a whole nother topic someday is rentals, the
Yeah.
rentals and the rental stores, right? So I'm going to try and keep that to a minimum. But yeah, I wish I could have seen a movie like that. We used to rent a lot of horror movies, which was great. My grandmother used to send us over around those days that Dust Till Dawn came out to the rental shop, and they would just let us rent whatever because they knew my grandma. It was a small town. Like, oh, they didn't care. And I had learned at this age, 9 years old, that it's the horror movies that have all the titties.
Yeah.
So I would just rent all the horror movies. It wasn't like outward porn, but I knew there's gonna be jugs in them, and they would just let me go home with like Leprechaun 3 and shit like that, and all these movies. But that's a cool one. I'm jealous of that. So mine. That's a nice segue. You brought up dollar theaters. We cannot forget about the dollar theaters and the importance dollar theaters played in our use. They made going to see movie back in the day. Dollar theaters actually had a purpose because now it eventually got to a point where dollar theaters movies were playing at the dollar theater about at the same time they were coming out on video. So there eventually would be an overlap where you could go rent it or just see it at the dollar theater. But back in the day, it took so long for these movies to come out on home release. There was a time where there was a period where you could only see it at the dollar theater. It was no longer in the main theaters and it wasn't out on VHS yet. And you could just really get a steal and see it for a movie for $1. And one of the movies that I saw in 1997, that's where I'm jumping up to. And I've talked about this. If you guys listen to our podcast, you got to forgive me for being a little bit redundant, but I would just be terrible if I omitted this. Mortal Kombat Annihilation, 1997. And we saw it at a dollar theater. And it's funny because this movie was out of the regular theater so fucking fast. It feels like I saw it as soon as it came out, but it probably was. It's probably like in week 2 or 3, and it was already in dollar theaters. And I'll never forget it. I've told this story before, but my family, we loved the first Mortal Kombat. Loved it.
Did you see that in theaters?
No. And by the way,
oh, I saw that in theaters.
If we had another side category of movies we regret not being able to see, Mortal Kombat, because we didn't go to the movies a lot. But Mortal Kombat came out, the original, in 95 when I was living in Kentucky, when I got to see Toy Story and I had my Uncle David coming. It just didn't line up that he came into town and we got to see Mortal Kombat. But dude, Mortal Kombat was huge. I was 4th grade. Mortal Kombat 3 was massive. It was the new arcade out. This is the days where we would go to school and everybody would be playing Mortal Kombat outside at recess, dude. Like, I'm Sub-Zero, you be Johnny Cage, beat the shit out of each other, and I'm gonna freeze you. And if you got frozen, you had to you had to be frozen. And then like I had my friends bringing their G.I. Joe Mortal Kombat toys. You remember them? The G.I. Joe line. They bring the Goro, and I thought they were so cool. And the Primal Rage action figures too. And we had friends bringing in the guides. The Mortal Kombat 3 guides they would buy. And these are people that didn't have ports. They would buy the guides. And dude, I knew one kid in 1995 that had a PlayStation. One kid in the whole school, and PlayStation was brand new, and he had a copy of Mortal Kombat 3 on Sony PlayStation. And yeah, we would just look at those guides in awe. And man, the movie was hot. It was, dude, they had the Mortal Kombat live tour as well. Dude, they were really milking it back then. And just
now, was the PlayStation version Ultimate, or was that the regular edition?
That was the original.
Okay.
The
Okay.
Ultimate was on Sega Saturn,
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
which, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 is just the equivalent of a patch
Yeah. Yeah.
today, right? They released the cabinet of Mortal Kombat. It was way unbalanced. Like, just dude, it was impossible AI. You could not beat Shao Kahn. So back in the day when they'd fix shit, they'd have to send out technicians to all the arcades, like a different rep for the company.
Yeah.
Just like fill the soda can, fill the soda machines, all that stuff. They had an arcade person come out that worked for the companies, and they'd have to go into the machines and work on them and put in whatever update and fix a problem. And that's why when you see an arcade, it'll say like version 2.1, 2.2, or whatever. They didn't trade out the whole cabinet. They just came in manually to each shop. But there was a point where the update was so big, like, you know what, we're going to add characters. And you could probably tell they wanted to do this the whole time. It just wasn't quite ready. There's probably a lot of pressure to follow up MK2 in the arcades, just demand. And they put out that version, and they were working on like Reptile and all these characters because there was no ninjas in the game.
Yeah.
They unmasked Sub-Zero. So the update was so big to where they legit not only updated the innings of the machines, but they also, I think they just straight up replaced the marquees and shit like that. I think they were the same machines. I don't think they replaced them. And I think that's also why you don't ever see any MK3 arcades, like the regular ones. I literally think they were just all kind of transformed into UMK3. But anyway, I digress. I wish I could have saw the original Mortal Kombat because it was hot, dude. I was watching shit featurettes on TV. I would watch like Entertainment Tonight in the 4th grade, dude, of like behind the scenes footage of. I remember watching the behind the scenes footage of the Sub-Zero. They were going over like the special effects in the movie. I'm like, that looks so fucking rad. And just to put it out there, I still think that sequence looks awesome.
Yeah.
It doesn't all look good. Like Reptile looks like shit. It's very proto CGI, very mid 90s CGI, where they were just really kind of getting into the technology and everybody was exploiting it. But that Sub-Zero battle looks awesome. It looks great. So, but anyway, MK Annihilation is another story, right? That's a horse of a different color. So we all loved it. I rented Mortal Kombat 1 on VHS more than any other movie ever. And I got to say, I've seen the original MK movie more than any other movie. To this date, I've still seen it more than any other movie. I'm not saying it's the greatest movie of all time. I just have seen it more than any other movie. And I can quote it front to back. So my mom loved it. We would watch all the time. My mom enjoyed it. My dad liked it. When he came back into the picture, he enjoyed it. Everybody loved Mortal Kombat, which it's so weird to hear people shit on it today. Because some people do. Some people hold it in regard as like, oh, it's still the high mark for video game adaptation movies. But some people are like, God, it's trash. They can fuck off, man. I think it's great. So Mortal Kombat Annihilation comes out, and it came out fast because the original came out in 95. Annihilation was hitting theaters in 97, and they tried to emulate everything again, even down to the soundtrack. I saw the trailers. Even the trailers looked a little sus, right? Like, I don't know about this trailer. What is going on here? But the soundtrack, right? They had Rammstein, Angel on there. They had Megadeth. They had Secret Place. They were doing like the first soundtrack where they had like remix versions, which I love that first soundtrack. And actually, I like the Mortal Kombat Annihilation soundtrack too. Anyway, we're going to the movie. My dad was living out of a hotel. He wasn't on good terms with the family. He was trying to come back into the family at that point. And I remember he's like, oh, let me take the kids out to a movie. And we went to the Dollar Theater. He took us all out as a family. My mom, all my brothers at the time, to go see Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And I was stoked. And let me ask everybody, have you ever had one of those experiences where you were embarrassed? You were embarrassed because you somehow feel responsible for a shitty movie, even though you didn't make it? Right? Because he was going to see this movie for us, even though he liked the original a lot, he was going to see it for us. And I just felt like hanging my head low because this is bad. It was comically bad in the theater. And just, I was embarrassed. I'm like, I felt like telling everybody I'm sorry. Why though? And I remember there's 2 guys in the movie theater the whole time, just talking for the whole movie. It was a Dollar Theater, so there's a few people in there. And a row or 2 in front of us were these 2 college age looking dudes. And you know how you see those couples and there'll be like one guy explaining the whole plot to somebody that knows nothing about Mortal Kombat to the person with them. That's what this guy was doing. Every time somebody would come on screen, he'd be like, oh, that's Jax, man. He's really badass. He's got the cybernetic arm. He was narrating the whole fucking movie, explaining it. But I'm like, it didn't even matter. Usually that would ruin an experience for a good movie. But I'm like, dude, talk away. Just it's terrible, dude. From the opening scene, how horrible those green screen effects were. They're just terrible. They're bad. I remember when Shao Kahn showed up and he's wearing like a fucking Spirit Halloween mask, dude. And I just my heart sank into my stomach. I'm like, this can't be real. It turned into, it looked like sci-fi original movie, like Sharknado shit. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look great, but well, what can you do, right?
Yeah. Plemke in the chat talking about that soundtrack. Yeah, Tracy Lords. She did the Reptile theme, and she had a stint as like a house music artist. And I don't really know where it went after that. I just kind of know that song, but I
Pet
love that
Cemetery
soundtrack.
too. I mean, she was on that too.
Oh, was she on the Pet
Soundtrack.
Cemetery 2 soundtrack?
Yeah. Mhm.
Gosh, that'd be great to get a vinyl of that, man.
That they have that. The TerrorVision has a vinyl of that.
Do they?
Yeah, yeah.
I need to get on that, man. You need to send me a link so I don't forget. I think we were talking about it. I think it was you, but dude, like I said, the movie I want to make, man, I would love to get the Fading Away song. Maybe I should get the rights, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Carry the tradition. And I think it's okay to use it because it's been fucking 25, 26, 27 years since Pet Cemetery 2. It'd be great to keep that tradition alive and keep that song alive.
Yeah, you would have to. Yeah.
Dude, especially at the, I mean, not to spoil the story, but at the end, where it's a little somber and a certain song, dude, just have it like playing over the monologue. Like, I never had anybody die before, but you could just do that there too. It's so great, man. But yeah, that I'll never forget. And unfortunately, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, that theater experience is really high on my list, really high, for all the wrong reasons. So anyway, and really quick, I'll never forget walking out of that theater. When it's a good movie, when it's a bad movie. Back in the day when you'd leave a packed theater and everybody's talking when you're leaving the movie theater, when you're talking, everybody's talking about the movie. It was great. But when a movie was bad is when you can hear a fucking pin drop when the movie, when the movie ends and we're walking out and nobody's saying anything. We walk out of the theater, and it wasn't until we're slowly walking out of the theater. Nobody's saying a word. Walk through the lobby. Not a word was spoken. I feel just fucking in shock. We walk out the door. Nobody's saying anything. We walk slowly through the parking lot. Nobody says anything. And we finally get to the fucking car. We get in. My dad starts it up and he just goes, "Well, it's official. Liu Kang is the definitive Mortal Kombat champion." just after 3 minutes of this numbing silence, dude, it was so defeating. And I'm like, I felt like ass. Anyway, I'm done talking about it, man. Go ahead. Talk about yours.
Sorry, my glasses keep fogging up. It's getting kind of hot.
It's
getting kind of hot under these lights. Oof.
Oh,
that Seinfeld reference, dude? No,
oh, yeah,
remember Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Getting kind of hot under these lights, Seinfeld.
Dude, I don't think
I'm quite comfortable.
I don't think it was a coincidence that I never got taken to another movie again by my dad, by the way.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What's your next one?
So I kind of jumped the gun. I'm going to go back a few years. So I went From Dusk Till Dawn. I talked about that, but I'm going to go back to my one of the best movies experiences that I can remember. It was the first movie. It came in at July 12th, 1994. United States, July 15th. So
Lion King? I don't know.
No. So basically I was visiting my dad, and he lived in St. Louis. This was the first movie we ever went to together. He was a big movie nut, just like I was.
True Lies?
Yes, True Lies.
Fuck yeah. I'm like constantly just working in my brain, like, what movie is it? Yeah.
Yeah. So this is like, I don't know. I never really got to go to rated R movies in the theaters. But of course, when you're with your dad, he wants to take you to rated R because he loves, Schwarzenegger and Van Damme and Seagal and Stallone. So I got to see True Lies in the theaters, and it was just a fantastic experience. I saw it with my brother, my dad, just the three of us went, and God, it's so quotable. I mean, we were laughing our fucking asses off. Bill Paxton was the highlight of the movie for us.
I know, and you were a 10-year-old boy, which is very uncomfortable, I bet.
Yeah, so yeah, he walking out of that theater, he would make fun of me for like a week straight while I was staying with him for like 2 weeks because my parents were divorced and I got shipped there for 2 weeks to hang out with him. So he was a ass like a 10-year-old boy, Todd. Ass like a 10-year-old. I'm like, oh my god, shut the fuck up. But
Absolutely.
he would him and my brother would razz the shit out of me. But
Yeah.
it was such a great experience. I love True Lies. It was great, man.
That's awesome. On Arnold's side note, I think that's the holy grail I wish I could go back in time and go to was T2. You
Yeah,
didn't
I
see
never.
that, did you?
No, I saw
Yeah.
I saw it on VHS in '92 or whenever it came out. But
Yeah. I wish I could have saw that. No, that's great. I'm trying to stay in sequence. So for me, we are now up to 19. That was 97, MK Annihilation. Now we're up to 1999. I'm going to give you hints. I'm going to see if you guys can guess it. 1999 was the year, the most highly anticipated movie of that year. What was the most highly anticipated movie of that year? Long time coming, years in the making, right?
um,
Yeah, that's right. Phantom Menace, or as Plemke put it in the chat,
uh,
Fatum Mense.
I did see that in the theaters. You know
Yeah,
what? I was gonna say Stir of Echoes, but I was wrong.
I'll
Just kidding. I'm
stir
just
echo.
kidding, dude.
No, okay, so Phantom Menace, and let me tell you, I've never been. I know I'm just playing Plemke. It just made me laugh because that's what I that's what I read. Yes, Phantom Menace. Anyway, I was not a Star Wars fan. Never was a Star Wars fan, but that movie had hype, and I didn't want to see it. But everybody that wanted to see it and loved Star Wars, dude, that movie was sold out so far in advance. That was back in the day where you didn't go online, they reserved tickets. You wrapped yourself around the corner at the local box office. It was a big deal. And I remember it just so happens I had planned a sleepover with my childhood best friend, Ben, during the weekend of it coming out, which I wasn't really thinking about it because I didn't follow Star Wars. However, my buddy Ben should have thought about it because his dad was a huge Star Wars nerd and his kids were huge Star Wars nerds. And he was one of those guys that got the advance tickets for Star Wars The Phantom Menace. It's something they shared together. And here I am coming in on the weekend, and it's like he did, I guess, what a lot of adults would do. He just gave me his ticket. Well, he's like, well, the kid's in town, his friend's over for the weekend. I'm not gonna like make him not go to the fucking because you couldn't get tickets. And I feel bad now as an adult because I didn't love Star Wars. He was giving his ticket to somebody that didn't appreciate it. And we saw it, me and his two brothers, and I I fell asleep. I fell asleep during that damn movie, dude. Probably somewhere during the pod racing scene. I don't know. It was not good. And I
You
probably
should
woke up
you
at the
should
end.
feel bad because I remember my mom bought me tickets to that just so the two of us can go see it. Which I was a Star Wars fan because the first time I ever saw him was when they released him. I think it was
Mhm.
back in like '96, right? In theaters, the remastered versions.
With all the changes. Yeah, something
Yeah,
like that. It was
I
probably
didn't
in
know
preparation.
I
Yeah.
didn't know about the changes, but I saw all those in theaters and I was blown away. I loved them, but and then I
But
saw
I didn't
this and I was like, yeah,
it wasn't my fault. Like I said, I was the kid that got invited over and the sleepover, and it just I didn't fucking anything. I didn't know what's going on. But anyway, I felt bad. And I remember his dad picked us up from the movie and they took us to like Wendy's or something after to get some food. And he was asking us about the movie. And I don't know. I don't remember if I was just candidly honest. Like, yeah, no, I fell asleep. Probably broke his heart. Like, oh
oh
no, tell me you fell asleep with my ticket. And he wasn't like he didn't ask my mom or anybody for money for the ticket or anything like that. He just gave me the ticket, man. And yeah, like I said, I feel bad because now if anybody ever asks him, hey man, did you go see Phantom Menace? You'd be like, no, I didn't. I gave it to my kid's fucking friend. But I wanted to make him feel better. Like, hey, it wasn't very good, man. Now that I know that most Star Wars fans don't even like the movie, maybe he wasn't missing out.
yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway, yeah, and who knows? This might have been. I don't know. Maybe this was the famous sleepover where I shit everywhere. I
Oh
don't.
yeah,
I
that's the
slept at his
same
house.
guy, isn't it?
Yeah, same dude. I don't know. I had so many sleepovers at his house. I don't remember. But anywho, what is your next one? That was 1999 for me. So now
Oh
we're
man.
getting into middle school, high school territory, right?
Okay.
Oh, you're actually
Yes.
just on the fly looking up what came out.
Well, no, I'm not looking at what came out. I'm looking at what year it came out. So I have this on my list. It won Film of the Year. Still one of the best films ever made. It's another James Cameron movie, and you know what it is, 1997.
Oh, hold on. James Cameron. Oh, Titanic.
Yeah, so it'd be
Of course.
Titanic.
Yeah. I didn't see Titanic, but I remember how big of a deal that was, man.
Very big deal. I saw it 4 times. I loved it. I saw it with friends, family. It was one of those things. Soundtrack. I never got the soundtrack, but the soundtrack is still phenomenal.
It is
Um,
good. James Horner's great. R.I.P.
very. I mean, it's one of those movies where you turn it on, it's on cable, you got to watch it all the way through. You know, you get kind of hooked on it. Me and my wife still watch it to this day. So it's not the type of movie where you want to watch the actual physical copy of, but if you catch it at, kind of like Shawshank, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Where
you
see it
can't
a
turn away
million
from
times.
Shawshank. Yeah, and it's always going to be there. You kind of take it for granted. But you remember when that movie, how big of a deal it was when that movie came to VHS, came
Yes.
out, home release? Dude, I remember being in, I guess it would have been 6th grade. I remember sorry, I'm not going to dox him. Mr. Golgowski.
You just said his last name.
I says first. Sorry, Mr. G. Anyway, I remember being in his English class, and I remember him just making notice of, half of the class is out today, and they're all female. Do we think that has anything to do with Titanic coming out today? Because that's really what it was like. People were taking off of school to go buy VHS copies of Titanic. It was pandemonium. Everybody wanted that Leonardo cock. Seriously.
And it was 2 VHSs. So, yeah, you had the first hour and a half and the second hour and a half on 2 VHS copies.
Which is so weird. I know whenever you came across like a double VHS like that,
Now
anyway.
you can find them at Goodwill for $0.25. So,
they're everywhere. There's same thing with Jurassic Park and Speed, right? All these movies. Yeah, Jurassic Park, there's so many of those. So I didn't see that in theaters, but I definitely watched it. We acquired it. I don't remember where we got it. It was bought. I think my mom actually bought it. Maybe the hype was just real for her. Like, oh, I guess I got to see this movie, and she picked it up. And
I think saw it worth the hype. I really do. I still love it.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie. And anybody that says Titanic's not a good movie is just like the same people that say Forrest Gump is a shitty movie.
Forrest Gump is fantastic.
Fuck off. I mean, there's hipsters out there that say Forrest Gump's the worst movie in the world. Like that's just something cool hipsters want to say. But really, is it really the worst movie ever made? I've seen a lot of bad movies.
Yeah.
Like even if you have problems, even if you think Forrest Gump's overrated, don't come at me saying it's the worst movie ever made, because I'll show you some real dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? All right. So next up for me, Todd, you and I are going to go to the year 2001. Take a journey back with me for a sequel and a beloved horror franchise. And this is a movie we saw together. It is the only movie I ever wanted to walk out on. And after it was done, I realized you wanted to walk out on it too. It is Jason X.
Yes.
What a terrible fucking piece of dog shit that was. We were watching it and it was so bad. And yeah, when it wrapped up, I looked at him and I'm like, I was tempted to like nudge you at a point in the flick and be like, oh, we can leave. But of course, like, I don't know if you're enjoying it or not. So it's like, I'm not going to say anything. And then you were like, I was thinking the same thing. So we could have saved ourselves some heartache and just left halfway through that movie. I remember there being 2 scenes in that movie. No, not even 2 scenes, 2 parts, frames even that were cool. Early in the movie, when Jason is unleashed, he cryogenically freezes that guy and smashes his face. That gave us a lot of false hope because it was early in the movie. Like, oh, that's pretty cool. No, you didn't get anything kind of neat until you get that throwback tree kill, right? Where he's smacking the camper or whatever in the sleeping bag against the tree over and over again. But even then, it was like a quick cut, like comedy timing, which it was kind of funny. But this was Jason
on Halloween 7. Yeah.
Halloween 7. What?
That's where he used. No, that's where he used the sleeping bag.
You mean Friday 13th?
Friday 13th. Yeah.
You're throwing me off there. Yeah.
All right.
But Anyway, yeah, so it was just not good. I don't even remember how the movie ends, and I've seen it a few times. I
I
watched
haven't.
it in theaters, and then I watched it for a commentary, and I still don't remember how it ends. All I know is it has that kid from fucking Harold and Kumar in it. Yeah, have you ever seen the Korean girl around here? Yeah, only when I open my eyes. Right? It's that little stoner kid. That's it. Whenever I open my eyes. Oh, is Jason ejected into space? Is that the end? Like, is that what you always do in a movie in space? Like the Alien, you go from the Alien blueprint and you
Blue Ball.
eject
Yeah.
it off into deep space.
No, I still haven't seen the end of that movie, and I own the box set, and I am sure you do too. I haven't watched it. That's one I'll
Well, we
skip
saw the
over.
end of it in the theater.
Did we? I don't remember it.
We didn't leave. We
Okay.
didn't leave. I'm telling you, at the end of it, we were both wishing.
Oh
We were both
God, that was what, so many years ago, man. I don't remember.
2001. That was 21 years ago. We were
Yeah.
both thinking what each other was thinking. Like I said, I wanted to leave. It was so bad, but I wasn't going to be the jerk and be like, "Hey, Todd, let's leave," because
Yeah.
maybe you're but you were thinking the same thing as what I'm saying. But yeah, we
Yeah.
finished it. Begrudgingly, we finished it, but it was shit. Oh, what? Sorry. Plumke says, "Oof, sorry for the spoilers." I've seen it, man. I don't have any
Dang it,
plans on
Plumpy!
Yeah,
you
no,
ruined it for me.
You ruined that fucking movie.
21 years later.
I could have guessed that he got ejected into space because how original, right? Anyway, like I've been saying lately, no franchise or Hollywood studio is satisfied until they've taken a franchise into space. And in the case of Hellraiser, also cyberspace. Like they just have to milk it absolutely dry. But I think there's some Jason news on the horizon, right?
Yeah.
I think there's like been some Instagram shit, some teasers, some like cryptic images shared that maybe points to signs that there's some announcement coming soon. But who knows? I don't know. I've never really held Jason close to my heart, so I don't really care. As far as if they make a bad movie, they make a bad movie. There's bad Jason movies. That's not anything new, but we'll
I've
see.
been getting back into it in the past 5 years. Friday 13th. So I really don't care if they make a shitty movie, but I'm glad they're making something though. Friday 13th related.
No, yeah, it definitely should be brought back to life. What's your next one?
So this is my last one of the 90s before I got to take a quick piss break. But so this one is going to be one that I was so much anticipating back in 1999. I think I was late middle school. I think it was like what, 7th, 8th, 9th, 8th grade, one of the two. But I wanted to see it so bad. They're very strict about getting into R-rated films back in this time. Everybody was talking about everybody. We even had teachers talking about it in one of our math classes. Aaron knows about, but that would be one of the greatest comedy franchises ever filmed.
Oh, American Pie.
American Pie.
American Pie. Yeah, dude, we had this teacher. I'm not going to dox him too, Mr. Item. But anyway, dude, I remember, and I don't even think I saw the movie at that point. It was referenced at some point in my homeroom, or maybe it was math class. I don't remember. He was a math, but he just puts up the fingers, warm apple pie. Like, oh, and at the time it wasn't really clicking. Like I got it, but I didn't realize, like as an adult, it makes you feel a different kind of way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was weird.
It was definitely, yeah. I love that movie. People can shit on it all they want to. It's dated. I don't care. It's one of the 16 comedies from the late 90s, which I love.
It's the Porkies of that generation, right? It was an important movie. So, and the first one was really, really funny. You were all about those flicks, man, because you always had those on DVD and shit at your house. You had copies of that stuff like that, Not Another Teen Movie and stuff.
I did, I did like Not Another Teen Movie as well, but
yeah, that's where the Bandcamp joke comes from, Plemke. It all goes back to that. And that movie gave us such amazing careers from the likes of Chris Klein, terrific actor.
I love Chris Klein, dude.
He was an election before that, but no, he's a terrible actor, dude.
He's terrible, but he's funny, dude.
Yeah, I mean, how many of those people have careers today? Right? Like none of them.
No, I don't think any
Even the
of them.
people that had careers from that movie have died down, like Stifler. Where's he been in the
The,
past few years?
the Shermanator. I mean, the
The
Shermanator.
Shermanator, the Shermanator, I think straight up retired from acting, didn't he?
Yeah, Jason Biggs. Yeah, he was popular probably in the early 2000s, but that was
He
it.
came back with Orange Is the New Black a little bit. He was on that show.
Yeah, but
Yeah. Oh, Chris Klein was in the CW's Flash. Okay, but he sucked in that too. He played a drunk.
my wife and I love him in that Just Friends movie with
Amy
Ryan
Smart.
Reynolds. Yeah, where he sings the whole time. It's so fucking
No,
hysterical,
that movie is funny. I forgot he was in that. That is funny. Well, if you need to go take a piss, it's a good time. Do you have to go?
Yep.
To
Be
take a
right
piss,
back.
I'll talk about my. I'll detour about another VHS while you're gone because I don't want to talk about movies. Why'd you get me out of the chat? No, what are you doing? Just go back in. Stop it. Just go. That looks weird. I don't want to be zoomed in. Nobody wants to see these pores. Anyway, so while he's away, I'm going to talk about another VHS that was huge. It could almost be its own topic as far as rentals, but a huge one for me was in 1996 when Scream came out. Dude, I didn't get to go see Scream in the theaters, but I remember I was living in Florida at the time. And when that came out, we used to go to the library, the public library, all the time and rent movies. And we rented Scream. Dude, I wore that out. And it probably one of the it's funny because I don't even love the Scream franchise, but dude, I loved that first movie. And when that came out, very impressionable on me. Very impressionable on me. It was a huge deal. And just a lot of fond memories. I just remember it being a really, really big thing. And the twist, I mean, at the time, my little brain at the time, I was blown away by the two killer ending. Sorry, spoiler alert. Yeah, Matthew Lillard, dude. Everybody was in it. And Scream, that first one, really did the comedy infusion right. Right. It was a horror movie, but the comedy, it didn't make the movie cheesy at all because you had the comic relief in Matthew Lillard. He was acting as silly as anybody in your real life would act silly, would have a sense of humor. I guess Jamie Kennedy also had a little bit of that, but I don't really think it was intentional. But Matthew Lillard was a class clown. We all knew that class clown. And so it was perfect, man. So funny. And I remember everybody loved that movie. It was very cross demographic. I remember being in school and one of my teachers loving Scream, and he was the type of guy you wouldn't think would like a movie like that, but he's like, I liked it because it's funny. He was able to grasp on it and relate to it on certain aspects. And you know, and back in 1996, I had no concept of all the meta stuff they were doing, right? The fact that it was just the next step in evolution from what Wes Craven was trying to do on New Nightmare. I I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I get it. What's your favorite scary movie? I get it. There was an emphasis on homage and nods to horror films, but I didn't get what they were doing. I didn't get that they were lampooning the horror genre and playing with all of the tropes and stuff of the genre and stuff. It was just a good movie. And then when you get older, I just appreciate what they were really trying to do even more. The franchise, you know, it went a little bit downhill after that. I love the second one though. I'm trying to think, another VHS I love too, man. Speaking of TMNT back then, dude, when TMNT 2 came out, I did not get to go see Secret of the Use in theaters. Ridiculous, right? But I did that Christmas get the VHS when it came out. And that was a huge deal to me too. I still love that VHS box art. The movie doesn't age. It doesn't age like the first one does for me. It definitely plays out like more of a kid's movie, but at the time, I didn't really see it like that because I was a kid. I mean, they were feeding it straight to my demographic. It's only that I got older and then I realized, oh yeah, it's starting to show its hokiness and its corniness. You start realizing, oh yeah, like they really didn't use their weapons in that movie, right? Like, you know, that whole intro scene where Leo throws his swords in the ceiling and jumps up and kicks them instead of slashing them with the sword. And you know, Michelangelo doesn't bash their heads in with nunchucks. He just so happens to very conveniently find sausages or bratwurst, right? And then, hey, Donatello has his bow right there. But you know what's better than this bow? I'm gonna take this like Nerf thing, this Nerf toy, and just hit somebody ahead and chase them. it was really silly, but as a kid, I didn't get it. So, okay, Riverman's back. What was Titanic the last movie we talked? What was the last movie we talked about? Jason X? What did we talk
No, it was
about?
American Pie, so it's on
Oh,
you.
American Pie. All right, so for me, I'm gonna fast forward, and I'm just trying to pick special stuff. Riverman and I saw some movies in between all this, and I'm not gonna account for every damn thing we saw.
I
But
got
the
about
next,
one more memorable experience for me.
I've got 3 or 4, but I can go through them quick. That's totally okay. In 2005, we saw this in a dollar theater where we had an encounter with who I believe was a pedophile, but I can't be sure. I'm talking about Rocky Balboa. We went and saw Rocky Balboa in an empty dollar store. It's not dollar store. That'd be weird. Dollar theater. And I remember we got there. We sat middle back, something like that. But it was totally empty. And this guy comes in, whole entire auditorium, empty seats, as far as the eye can see. He sits right in front of us, and starts having a conversation. Like, and he was doing, and he was like, I remember him talking to us like, oh yeah, I've been here all day. This is my 5th movie. I see movies all day long. This is my 5th movie today. And he was just like, where you from? Where you been? This is an older guy, and we're still like underage teens. It's really weird. I kind of got the cruising vibe from this guy. And if that was that the game he was playing? I'm going to go to dollar theaters and pick up these high school kids, go to these dollar theater. And anyway, he might have been totally innocent and just wanted to chat it up. Maybe he was super lonely, but for him to go see that many movies in a day, it tells me A, maybe he doesn't have a job, or B, he really has no life, or both, a combination. And anyway, we just dealt with it. We saw the movie, and after the movie, wasn't he like wanted to chat it up with us more and stuff like that? Like I don't know if this was trying to go somewhere or whatever, but we were like, we got to hurry up and get out of here because I think this guy's going to follow us to our car, dude. He's going to your Corsica and follow us to your house or wherever the hell we were going, dude. But I'm like, I was getting all kinds of weird vibes. He didn't look like young De Niro, man. I think Todd would have let him blow him if that was the case. I don't remember what he looked like.
Wish.
I don't remember what he looked like, but I'll never forget that. I don't know why, but it was just really, really creepy. Yeah, he injects Todd with a needle. Man. Yeah,
right, especially in a dollar theater, because the dollar theater is all run down and shitty anyway. It's like seeing that guy in there. I mean, you don't know what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, the money's not the problem. I could totally buy someone seeing dollar theater movies all day. That's not that big of a deal on the wallet, but who has that much time? But like I said, maybe he's a totally normal guy and we're just shitbagging him for no reason. Maybe he was just a huge film enthusiast and he had a day off from a very busy schedule, and maybe you never know. But it was creepy, man. It was weird. Usually you should trust your instincts on that. So I would have been like, if he would have been like, hey guys, you guys want to come back into a party? Older guys, we got some beer. I would have been like, I got a good feeling about this. How about we don't?
We were kind of talking about leaving because he was kind of ruining the movie for us because he was turning around and talking to us the whole time. And it's like, what the hell are we supposed to do with this guy?
Yeah. And our thing was like, literally, like, I remember kind of, maybe you did it, but just kind of talking to me under your breath, like, hey, you want to hurry and book out of here? Or at least if we wanted to finish, like, we gotta get out of here. Maybe leave a code because we don't want that guy following us, man.
We might have moved to the back row without him knowing. We might have done.
We would have I don't know. We would have ended up in the basement of a pawn shop, dude, with his buddy Zed, dude, and a fucking gimp. It would have been no good, dude. Todd would have had the ball gag in his mouth. I would have had to rescue the poor guy's ass with a samurai sword. Dad, a boy, right?
Call me Bing.
Yeah, he's absolutely Bing, right? Anyway, do you have one more? You said? Do you want me to? I could pace it out because I have a couple more. So if you want me to do one more and then you do your last one,
go for it.
I'll do one more. I'll go into. I'm gonna jump ahead. Gosh, remind me of the year. Land of the Dead. Was that 04? I
think it's 04. Let me look it up. Hold on.
04 sounds about right. It was after Shaun of the Dead, and that was 04.
05.
Shaun of the Dead, I believe, was 04. Yeah, Land of the Dead. Huge deal when that came out. And I was, I had gotten into the Dead movies from Todd, but when I had moved to Missouri, I had met a guy that was like Todd. I worked with him. He was older, so I always kind of saw him as like an older brother type figure, but we were really good friends and we bonded over all kinds of the same stuff that Todd and I bonded over with. And so he was stoked. He was obsessed with Romero. He was obsessed with all that stuff. I used to always refer to him to Todd as Todd of Springfield. But And I remember when that was coming out, dude, he was so hyped on it. And, his hype fueled my hype. You know how it is when someone's amping you up. I'm like, cool. We saw that movie 4 fucking times. And rose-colored glasses, right? Now, at the time, he was so into it. We were so hyped for it. I remember liking it way more in the theater the first time.
Yeah.
And, even we saw it a couple of times because it was fun, dude. I was having a good time with my buddy. And, and it wasn't until later that it's like, yeah, this really didn't merit four different times in the theater. Not at all. But, we did a whole podcast about this, basically how does it stack up today? And if you guys want to go on the YouTube channel and look that up, it was a pretty good conversation. And that's pretty much how I feel about it today. Everything that we talked about in that podcast, there's a lot of history with that movie. But anyway, I just remember it. I don't think I've seen a movie more in theaters than Land of the Dead, which is odd. But did you not? You saw it in theaters, right?
I did see it in theaters, and now that we're talking about it, I got 3 more movies on top of the movie that I was going to talk about. So,
well, I only got 2 more, so you probably should do 2.
Well, two are kind of the same. So,
okay, you fucked up the sequence. That's all right. Go ahead.
So the first 2 I want to talk about, which phenomenal experiences. I kind of talked about them on the podcast before, which still 2 of my favorite horror films of all time. The Rob Zombie films, of course, House of 1,000 Corpses and Devil's Rejects. Saw them both on opening night. House of 1,000 Corpses was sold out. Sat in the front row. It was crazy. Everybody hated it, but me. It seemed like walking out of that theater. I thought it was phenomenal. I've never seen anything like that movie at the time. And then we saw Devil's Rejects with some friends a few years later, and we basically it was one of those dumpy theaters nobody went to. They're going to close it down. So basically, we brought a case of beer in the theater. We sat there and we drank beer in the movie theater the whole time. They didn't say anything to us. So that was a hell of a lot of fun. We did that as well. So great theater experience. As well as I'll jump into my only theater experience that I walked out on, and I kind of hinted at it in the beginning of the show. But do you want me to do it now or wait?
If that's going to be your last one, I have 2. You might as well wait because I got a couple more. We'll even it out.
I got 2 more. I got 2 more. So this one and another one. So
let me see. So I have 2 more. So let's go normal now. So I'll go, you go, I'll go, you. But I want to say though, so I didn't see those movies, those zombie flicks in theaters. I saw House of 1,000 Corpses when it came out for rents. I was freshly living in Missouri, pretty new, had moved there. And I watched it alone by myself in our living room on VHS, and I fucking hated it. The first time I watched it, I really didn't like it. I'm like,
some love it, some hate it.
Especially that Dr. Satan shit at the end, dude. Like, what the fuck
is
going
on? Funny. That was great.
It went over my head. When I got a Blu-ray player, I got a PlayStation 3 in 2012. Remember when I moved back to Nebraska briefly?
Yeah.
Right. And I was working at the furniture place. Okay. So I had just bought my first 1080p TV, my first flat screen, and I got my PlayStation 3 recently, and I was ready to go Blu-ray crazy. And I got that on Blu-ray, and then I watched it, and the Blu-ray looked phenomenal. And I don't know, I appreciate it a lot more that second time.
It's one of the best.
I don't know
out there
if I still love the movie, but I definitely liked it more the second time around. And and I liked Devil's Rejects as well, and I really liked the featurettes he would do on those. I love the featurette on Devil's Rejects on that DVD. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry, man. Am I lagging a bit? We'll try and wrap it up. Am I still okay though?
You're getting better.
Like the stream's all right. It looks like it was just less. Yeah. What are you gonna do? I think it's back. Let me know you can hear us okay now, Plemke. But yeah, man. So I don't know. Rob Zombie, he had a moment. It didn't last very long. I think he's a bit of a one-trick pony. No, we got more stories to tell for sure. I just wanted to make sure everything was cool with the stream. But yeah, man, I don't know. Rob Zombie, I'm not trying to shitbag the guy, and I know he's got Monsters coming out, but it don't look good to me. If
It
it's
looks
going to
like
be on the
shit, but I mean,
Netflix, hey, I already pay for Netflix. Will I watch it? Yeah, of course. If I don't have to pay anything additional for it, why not? I got to give my
all
stamp
directors have
on
their
there.
shitty movies, though. So
He's
Romero
had a
has plenty
lot
of shitty
though.
movies.
Yeah, he does. He absolutely does. Oh, is it a Peacock movie?
Carpenter has shitty movies too.
I thought it was a Netflix flick.
Yeah,
Plemke.
I don't know.
Pretty sure. But anyway, so the next one I'm going to talk about, and I don't know why this one was cool to me, because it was just the last movie theater experience that was just really cool. I was in London. It was my first time traveling, and when I went to London, I was staying with my buddy Mark, and this is when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do when I thought the fucking La Migra was after me. Immigration was after me, going to kick me out of the country. I remember he went to work and I couldn't stay in his flat because he wasn't supposed to have anybody staying with him for, not even guess.
Was it
Everybody
communist
there has
country?
like, no, everybody there has really hardcore Pakistani type people. They own like all the flats and they're all like the slumlords and shit like that. And they're just super strict. And anyway, so I had to spend most of my time out of the house. And when I didn't, I had to hide from the guy, dude. I remember, like, I don't know if I've told the story before. I didn't go anywhere. I stayed in his apartment while he was working, dude. And the owner would make surprise unannounced visits, dude, which you think in America is illegal. I don't think you can do that. You can't just come into your apartment or whatever unannounced. You have to give notice that they're going to be coming in to do some maintenance or whatever. He would make pop-in visits unannounced. And I remember being upstairs. I remember being in the kitchen just on my computer, man. And I hear the door jingling, dude. I'm like, oh God. and I ran upstairs and I heard him, and he's got all hardwood floors. So you
Was
can
like
hear
Ace
every
Ventura
creak.
did.
Oh yeah. Give
Where
me
he's
the signal.
jiggling, yeah.
No, he was trying to catch me, man. He wasn't trying to warn me. But anyway, so he was coming in. So I ran upstairs and I had nowhere to go. So I hid under my buddy Mark's bed. And it was like a horror movie, right? It was like a horror movie where I hear him walking through the house and I hear him making his way up the stairs, like, oh no. And he comes in the bedroom, legit, no fucking shit. He looks through the closet. I can see his feet, like, God, don't look under the bed. Don't look under the bed. And then he like literally like stops in front of the bed, like, oh no. And he like turns, like, oh no. And he doesn't look and he heads out the door, like, oh God.
What's he gonna do if he finds you?
I don't know. It's like Clock Tower of the game. I don't know. I get killed. He stabs a giant pair of scissors through me, dude. I don't know. But anyway, it was just like out of a movie. And I told my buddy Mark, I'm like, this guy does this. He went through your fucking room. Maybe he doesn't normally do that, but he probably heard my footsteps as he was from outside. He had to have. I don't know, but like that's all kinds of shit. Anyway, one of these days that I had to keep myself busy and not be in his flat, I went to Piccadilly Circus, which is just a district in London. And I went to this really cool independent theater and I saw This Is Anvil, the story of Anvil by myself, dude. I paid a fucking ridiculous premium of a ticket cost to see this damn movie. But it was like, it was a really cool, artsy indie theater and it was really neat. And I was the only person in the theater. I just walked in there and I sat in this theater room by myself and I watched that documentary, which I don't know if you've seen that documentary, Todd. Have you?
No, I haven't. No.
It's amazing.
What's
It's
it
so
on?
good. Well, I don't know if it's streaming anywhere right now, but basically when that movie came out, this was 2009 and it was a huge buzz documentary at the time because Anvil was this 80s pseudo proto thrash hard rock band that didn't make it. And they talk about it like, it's basically a documentary on this band that had all the promise of all these rising bands and all these bands like Metallica and Slayer and everybody made it, but they never made it. And they were supposed to be big and it just never happened. And it follows them today and they're still going after their dream. And it's like, 30 years later, 20 years later at the time, I guess they're still doing it. And the singer's like working in a shelter, a kitchen, serving homeless people. He's got kids, he's got a family, and they're still playing the gigs, right? And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful documentary. It's super interesting. It's sad. It's inspirational, and they got like a boost of 5 minutes of fame from it. They got a moment from that documentary. And, I remember they got a big tour opening for AC/DC off that documentary. And it didn't make them blow up because they're back to playing shitty bars again. But dude, it's a great documentary. I highly recommend it. 10 out of 10.
I'll have to look
Really,
into that.
a lot of cool cameos too, like a lot of little interviews from big rock stars. Like Lars is in there and Slash, and they're talking about Anvil and stuff. And I remember when this came out, I had never heard of Anvil. Like, who the fuck? And at first, I'm like, is this a mockumentary? Is this like a Spinal Tap thing? Because you almost feel like it is, but like, no, they were real. So I recommend it. Anybody that's never seen it, fucking go see that stuff. And I remember when I bought that on DVD too when it came out. As soon as I got back, I bought it. I still have a DVD copy. All right, and it's on Blu-ray too for anybody that wants to get it. So you got one more, and then I'll wrap it up with one.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with my worst theater experience and my best theater experience.
Okay.
Worst theater experience. Kind of hinted at it in the beginning of the podcast here. I took back in 2003. Of course, I was into horror films. I was into zombie films. I wanted to take a girlfriend to a movie. I heard this new zombie film was coming out, and I was like, okay, we'll check it out, see what it's all about. I don't know if I read anything about it in Fangoria or what, but I don't know. I didn't have high hopes for it by any means, but this is the only movie I ever walked out of.
Oh.
And Plumke, yeah, you guessed it. When you talked about Uwe Boll earlier, you were talking about this movie, and it's House of the Dead. And this movie was the biggest pile of shit I've ever seen in my life.
Well, Plemke said Alone in the Dark, which is also Uwe Boll.
Okay. Yep.
So, it was also a video game adaptation starring Christian Slater. So Uwe Boll became the anti-Paul W.S. Anderson, where you had Paul W.S. Anderson, who had made a career out of video game adaptations. I mean, they're both seen as making kind of schlock movies, but Paul W.S. Anderson made money at the box office, right? He did he did most of the Resident Evil movies. He did Mortal Kombat, right? He did a couple of movies after Mortal Kombat, like Soldier, which is a guilty pleasure with Kurt Russell. He did Event Horizon, which has a pretty big fan base. But after that, man, once he did Resident Evil, he became that guy doing Monster Hunter and all kinds of shit. But Uwe Boll is like the bottom of the well version of him.
The funny thing is about this film, it had a $12 million budget and it made $13.8 million. So it made all its money back and then a little bit, an extra $2 million. So it blows my mind because this was the biggest pile of crap.
But that's a bomb. So do you remember when he would splice in the editing footage of the game?
Oh,
when they'd be like shooting the zombies, it would cut in with like zombies getting shot from the
That's when I walked out after that crap. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching?
Bad. So bad. It's gross. Oh, Uwe Boll used to film to promote to After Effects, the Adobe program.
Yeah, gross. After Effects. Okay, wow,
gross. So, what was your good experience?
Do you want to do yours? Do you want me to do mine?
Oh, so you have one more?
I have one more.
I just have one more. So just go and knock yours out. I'll end it.
Okay, so probably the best theater experience is not who I was with. Tell you the truth, I was with Lush from the old days, but I did see this in one of the old theaters I grew up in, the one I live next door to, and I had the the $10 monthly. I didn't have it at that time, but the theater was dead. Nobody went in there, and I loved it because they're huge theaters, cheap popcorn, cheap drinks, and it was probably the best theater experience I've had because nobody went into it. People left it halfway through the movie, and it would be 2007's Grindhouse. Yeah, which I enjoy the movie, but the theater experience I thought was fantastic because it was what, a three and a half hour movie. I love the fact with the first movie, Death Proof, and then the cutaway, like the intermission with the trailers and everything, and then jumping into Planet Terror then Death Proof. Sorry. But just that whole, 3.5 hour theater experience, I thought was fantastic.
That was a great experience too. I want to say I saw that twice as well. And that just goes to show how powerful Quentin Tarantino was in the industry, because the fact that they allowed that, right? Because they were giving people 2 for 1.
Yeah.
And they were taking up that much movie slot time. So when a movie's 3.5 hours long, you can only show it so many times in a day, which means reduced profits.
And it bombed. It bombed hardcore, but
it bombed hardcore. but I
I
had
loved
never
it.
seen anything like that. I'd never been, and it was cool. I mean, if that's the way it really was back in the Grindhouse days of double features, how neat.
Mhm.
Because, dude, I can only imagine if they had a lot of that shit back when me and Todd were in high school, man. That would have been so much fun to just go to
I wouldn't go to school. Yeah.
those Saturday night showings, man. Oh, I would have loved if we had a drive-through in high school.
Yeah.
Go to get a car full of our, like Travis, our buddy, or whoever. Just get a group of people together and just go and see these double features of the most heinous type of fucking movies. It would have been great. And I love the missing reels, dude. Like I
Mhm.
remember when the reel burnt up and then it cuts to the house on fire. And I don't remember I don't remember who it was chewing out Tom Savini. Oh, and
Yeah.
you don't know. My buddy was dying laughing at all that stuff. It was so funny.
Well, a lot of people are shitting on that. You know, the people that were like, okay, the original Grindhouse type of movies, they're trying to pay homage, but it doesn't hold up. I thought it was great. It brought people into the actual, the old exploitation, horror type of films that were from the 70s.
But the
And
Grindhouse version
yeah,
was those versions were amended, right? When they later got released separately, they were more robust and had more. They were longer, right? They had more to them.
I think they were a little longer. They split them apart, but then they also put them back together on one of the releases as
And
well.
that one's hard to find. That release of the actual Grindhouse release, that
Yeah,
home release.
I have that Steelbook. I think I got that a while back, but yeah, I think it's kind of hard to find now.
I think that one's hard to find, and I haven't seen those movies since the theater, and I
Mhm.
really feel like I should go back and watch them. And I honestly, after because Planet Terror came first, right?
Yeah, Planet Terror.
And I remember really enjoying Planet Terror, and then when Death Proof came, I was underwhelmed, to be honest with you, at first, because
I thought it was a better movie.
oh no, today I would probably agree with you. I want to go back and watch it, but
Mhm.
at the time, the come down off of Planet Terror and all those weird interlude movies and stuff like that, and you got a car exploitation movie or whatever you want to call
Yeah,
it. I don't know. It was a weird come down, and I felt like it was very Tarantino. It was very talky. It was very slow. It had a great payoff,
Kurt
but
Russell's fantastic. Yeah.
yeah, he's always fantastic. And to me, he's the definitive leading man. He really is.
Mhm.
I wish he was still like on top of his game and getting all the roles and stuff, because to me he's like timeless. But I want to rewatch it and see how it stacks up today.
It
I
also,
will.
lastly, it also spawned off a few movies, Machete and Hobo with a Shotgun as well.
That
Those are trailers in there, and it spun off those movies and giving them
I would
feature releases
give
as well.
Machete. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to really stew on it for a definitive answer.
Not a
But
great movie.
if you were to ask me point blank, biggest disappointment, Machete, right?
Yeah,
Because I was hyped
I was too.
after watching Grindhouse and the trailer being so cool, and even seeing the trailers for Machete when the movie was actually coming out. I thought the idea was so neat, and the trailers were so great, dude. I was so let down by that movie.
Yep.
Like, this just isn't good. Yeah, Plemke Death Proof had Rosario Dawson in it. Yeah, but yeah, that was a huge letdown. So if that's it for you, I'm going to end it with
Yep.
the most recent memorable experience, which it's been a minute, but oh fuck, what year was it? It was probably. It's funny, the older you get, the years blur together a little
Yeah.
more. They're less identifiable because it becomes more of the same when you become a working man. But it was probably about 4 years ago when I went to New York and I met Josh James, and we went to go see a screening of The Room in Manhattan. I'm pretty sure it was Manhattan. It might have been. I think it was in Manhattan.
Mhm.
But yeah, and Tommy Wiseau was there. He did the whole meet and greet thing. We got pictures with him. He did a Q&A before the start of the screening, and it was great. It was just like you always saw on TV about those screenings. Everybody brought their spoons, right? Because every time a spoon is shown in the shower, everybody throws spoons at the screens. And it was one of the most fun movie experiences I've ever been to in my life, because everybody was so interactive with it. Everybody was in on the joke, and they gave us. And if you didn't bring your own spoons, they had spoons to hand out. Tommy was so came
That's
prepared,
cool.
dude. It was so fun throwing shit at the screen, and everybody talk about a movie that it's a terrible movie. Even like all the silly stuff in it, it's slow, it's just bad. But dude, when you have a
It's
crowd
fun.
erupting in laughter at every stupid line and throwing spoons every time they see a spoon on the screen, dude, it was just such a great time. And so that's it. That's it for me. And I got to have fun and meet Josh James, and he came back and to the hotel, and we recorded 2 commentaries that night. We recorded one for his R-rated show, and we recorded one for our Revival House. We did Freddy 3 and Freddy 4. We did one for each of us, and that was just a cool night, cool experience.
I have kind of a cool upcoming movie that I'm going to be seeing here in the next month. If you want me to throw that out,
yeah, throw it out.
Okay, so my buddy John, he used to do some BTM stuff for us back in 10 years ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
He bought us tickets. John and I are going to go see at the Alamo Draft House. We're going to see Return of the Living Dead, double feature, Return of the Living Dead and Night of the Demons. I think it's October the 29th or 30th. And Linnea Quigley's going to be there for Q&A. So I'm excited to be able to I never met Linnea Quigley, so I'm excited to actually meet her and check out that double feature with her. So that'll be a lot of fun.
No, that's really cool. The only thing that we have coming up that I'm going to look forward to is Studio Ghibli Fest. She loves those movies, and I actually love them too. They're really great. We bond over them. There's going to be a day, I think it's in November. I'd have to look. I can't quite remember, but like every theater is going to be playing Ghibli movies, and it's like I think it's Spirited Away and maybe My Neighbor Totoro and Princess Mononoke. I would love to see those movies in theaters because they're just fantastic. I've been totally just conformed to those flicks. They're awesome. So I'm gonna enjoy that, and
I was gonna see Dawn of the Dead
superhero guy.
I was gonna see Dawn Dead 3D, but I'd rather meet Linnea and actually go to the double feature. Just because this one is digital anyway and it's shot in 3D, which is fine. But
yeah,
I think it'd be more fun to go to.
I don't really care about meeting anybody, but I had I could have went to. They had what was it? A Lost Boys screening a few years ago at a Harkins across the city, and Corey Feldman was there. He did.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it was Corey. He was doing he did a Q&A, and he was doing a meet and greet as well. And I was tempted, but I'm like, nah, I don't want to drive an hour across the city.
Oh, I would.
It was like, kind of in the ballpark of where I picked you up from that airport. If you remember, like, it's
I'm sure your girlfriend would have loved it, dude.
This is probably 4 years ago, so I think it was before I was dating her. But a legend, dude. Well, in hindsight, I would have brought I can get my TMNT poster signed. I could get because he's Donatello, right? Mm-hmm. And then the guy who played Leonardo from Revenge of the Nerds, he was in town recently. I'm like, shit, I could have got my TMNT poster signed from him. I didn't even know he was at that convention this year. And he's at a comic book store again, next week. Fuck. And then the Raphael guy, it would be cool to get all those signatures. But
JDF's supposed to be a comic book or store here next week in my town.
Oh yeah, dude.
JDF,
yeah. Go get an interview.
Nah. Okay. I'm done with JDF.
I still love the guy.
He's a nice guy. No,
he's a nice guy, and the guy knows how to promote himself. And I'm not gonna shit on a guy for knowing how to market.
No. He's a nice guy, but we've already done it.
Dude, he is the cockroach that'll be here after the world burns down because he is known. He knows how to survive. He knows how to build his brand and sustainability, man. And I wish I could just join his masterclass. Tell me the ways. I think he's great. But I guess lastly, the last thing I'll say before we wrap up is I started on TMNT and I want to end on TMNT because in 2020 they were planning and they were promoting the 30th anniversary of TMNT 90, and they were playing this before the pandemic, obviously, and I was excited for it because man, I want to go and relive this in theaters. It was supposed to be remastered and all that bullshit. But I'm I just want to go see this in movie theaters again because it was the first movie I saw, and I wanted to go with my girlfriend Eva. And I thought it was really odd that they didn't cancel it like everything else. They literally still held it in 2020, and I think this is maybe kind of before everything officially shut down. But it was looking rocky, like most things were. Nobody was coming out with any new movies. Right. The last blockbuster they came out with was Sonic the Hedgehog, and nobody was putting their movies out. And they went ahead and did it. And so we went wearing masks and the whole thing. And of course, we were the only people in the theater. It was kind of sad. God, it's and I don't know if the interest just wasn't there, if the pandemic really killed it. But the guy who wrote it, the guy who wrote TMNT, he is a big advocate for the movie. He really hasn't done much since then. That's like his one claim to fame. But he lives here. He lives in the Phoenix area in Scottsdale. And he's always championing the movie. You can go on his Instagram, whatever. He's always doing interviews with like podcasts and stuff like that. He's one of those guys, which is great. And I remember I asked him, I bought tickets and I IM'd him. I said, hey man, because he was saying, yeah, he was making a big deal. It's gonna be a big event. He's like, I'm gonna go to different screenings all weekend long in the valley. In the valley, that means the Phoenix area, great area. I'm just gonna go to different ones. I'm gonna go to different showings, and he'll like sign, right? And he'll talk and the whole deal. It'd be a whole thing. I'm like, that's cool. I'd like to meet that guy. He wrote a movie that was really special to me. And he lives in town. And I messaged him. I said, hey man, I'm going. I live near these AMC's. Are you gonna attend one of these? And which so he's like, yeah. I was like, I was gonna attend. I was probably gonna attend whatever show, whatever. It's like, all right. And I bought that one. And then I went there, dude. Tumbleweeds. Nobody was there. Empty.
Oh,
He didn't show up. He didn't even show up. And my guess is he probably went to one other one like earlier in the day or in the valley, and nobody showed up. And it was like, oh, well, this is embarrassing.
yeah.
Probably showed up with like autographs and shit like that, and probably like printed out screenplays to sign. And it was really a depressing moment because I'm like, man, I feel bad for him, but I feel bad for me too. I'm like, dude, it, I would have loved to have seen that movie. They were trying to represent it, a big 30th anniversary, cleaned up presentation. It looked fantastic. And I think it should have had a full theater full of turtle heads, but it was
Yeah.
empty, dude. It felt like I was seeing just a fucking rerun at some dollar theater. Like, hey, it's classic Tuesdays at the dollar theater.
Yeah.
And it was kind of pathetic and depressing. Really depressing. So, anyway, that's all I got, man. So, hey, look, I think we gave you guys some bang for your buck. We went a little long today, but we were also a little late. We had some fuck ups at the beginning. But let me tell you, these are a blast. And I know I said I was going to let the patrons vote on the next topic. I didn't expect that we were going to be doing this today. Todd kind of sprung it on me. So the next one, I came up with a whole list of awesome topics. I'm going to put them on Patreon, and I want you guys to let us know which one we're doing next week. And these are topics that I think both of us could talk ad nauseum about. These are a lot of fun. I love talking about this stuff. Like I said, I don't feel like I could talk about a lot of this stuff on our normal shows. Speaking of which, segue, if you like this, please follow us on Twitch. This is new. We're trying to reach that affiliate status, and we at least need to get to 50 followers. I think we're at like 33 or something like that. So if you're watching and you're not following us, give us a follow. Share us with anybody you think might like us. And also, if you like this kind of stuff, we're also on YouTube. We've been on YouTube for years and years and years and years. We've obviously, you can find our podcasts on podcast services. We do film commentaries over on podcast services and YouTube. Tons and tons of content for you guys to dig into. Multitudes of shows. Go over there, give us a follow, leave a like and a comment on a video over there, and help us out with the algos over there. But other than that, yeah, follow us on Patreon, support us there, help us out a lot. And we have a Teespring. If you guys want to support us any further than that, buy a t-shirt. Todd, do you have anything you'd like to sign off with?
No, I need to get over to Teespring and actually buy some shirts because I haven't in a while. So
Yeah, well, we need some new designs because we've since rebranded. You know, we've sort of retired the old logo, which was like that Pulp Fiction font.
yeah.
And now we got this sweet graphic that Zach designed, which you can see up in the corner there, which is that's actually a very small piece of the overall collage. If we were to expand that picture out, it contains a lot of stuff. But what you see there is Revival House, made up of all different fonts from very famous movies, right? You can probably spot what a bunch of them are if you look closely. The R is obviously RoboCop. That's the only one I'm giving away for
I like
free.
the tagline, "The house always wins." That's perfect.
Yeah. And then you can't see it. It's cropped out, but it's got the kids from Heavyweights holding up a sub sandwich, dude. But he's got like different faces on them from different movies and shit. And they're holding up this giant collage. And at the top of this collage, amongst other stuff, is Travolta's face, dude, from Face Off. It cracks me up, dude. We got to get that on a fucking shirt, though. So yeah, we got to update these designs, and we'll get some new shit up there. But anyway, thank you guys so much. We'll catch you guys next week. Please don't forget to support us. Adios.